Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Saudi club now trying to sign unbelievable Arsenal player. His agents have flown out a complete deal. Saudi Pro League outfit Al Shabab have reportedly made their move to sign Nicolas Pepe from Arsenal this week. That's according to the secret scout, which claims that Pepe's representatives have flown out to the Middle East to try and complete a deal. Pepe's future has been up in the air all summer after the 28-year-old returned from a loan spell with Nice. The Ivory Coast winger was expected to leave Arsenal before the British transfer deadline slammed shut last week, but a move failed to materialize for the out-of-favor forward. However, Arsenal could still offload Pepe this week as the Saudi Arabian and Turkish transfer windows remain open, and a fresh report claims that Pepe is close to securing a move to the Middle East. The secret scout reports that Pepe has received a proposal from Shabab. It's noted that Arsenal are looking for a fee worth around £2 million for the winger. Indeed, Pepe's agents have already flown out to Saudi Arabia to try and complete a deal. Pepe arrived at Arsenal back in 2019 for a £72 million fee off the back of an impressive campaign with Lille. Yet, it just hasn't worked out for the winger in North London, and he has been frozen out by Mikel Arteta. While Arsenal are set to take a huge loss on the forward, it makes sense for him to move on before the end of this week. There have even been suggestions that Arsenal could terminate his contract, but it would be beneficial for the club to at least pick up a small fee this week with interest from Turkey and Saudi Arabia. David Seaman singles out £27 million Arsenal player for praise after Man United win. Arsenal legend David Seaman gave special praise to defender Gabriel Magalhaes after his performance against Manchester United. Seaman was speaking on the Seaman Says Podcast and was very pleased with Sunday's result. Although Arsenal and Manchester United aren't necessarily fighting each other for league titles these days, the fierce rivalry still very much remains. Mikel Arteta finally gave first starts of the season to Gabriel Magalhaes and Zinchenko on defense. The pair were first choice last season, but have been out of the team at the beginning of this campaign. Immediately, Arsenal looked more settled than in their most recent games, where Arteta has slightly tweaked his tactics. Pushing Ben White out onto the right provided a familiar combination with Bukayo Saka that caused the visitors problems. Gabriel Martinelli was also a menace, and the extra space allowed to him by Zinchenko moving in field provided some fascinating battles with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. However, Seaman wanted to highlight how well Gabriel did against Manchester United, and in particular one moment right at the end of the match that had huge implications for the result. The £27 million centre-back's awareness in the final minutes ended up turning a defeat into 3 points. The moment in question was Alejandro Garnacho's disallowed second goal for Erik ten Hag's side. The Argentinian raced through on goal to score, but replays showed he was marginally offside. Speaking about the incident, Seaman said, "Who was it that went through for Man United? Garnacho. When he went through, my first reaction was, oh, he could be offside. I will tell you why, because Gabriel Magalhaes did amazingly holding his line. When you see a still of it, he is almost like bending over to keep on the line to try and get him offside. He does brilliantly there." Virtually, every Arsenal fan will agree with Seaman that Gabriel's awareness at the moment was pivotal in their win against Man United. Mikel Arteta now has a big decision to make over whether he keeps the Brazilian in the side after the international break. It would be very harsh to drop him after Sunday's performance. However, it took 2 injuries to finally include him in the side, suggesting Arteta hasn't been rushing to introduce him to the team. TalkSPORT Pundits believes Arsenal have a player who makes the game look ridiculously easy right now. Pundit Ali McCoist and Andy Townsend have admitted that Arsenal defender William Saliba makes football look very easy right now. The pair were speaking on TalkSPORT and praising the French international After another assured performance at the Emirates, Mikel Arteta reverted back to a defense that would have been very familiar to Arsenal fans last season. Zinchenko and Magalhaes made their first start of the season alongside Saliba and Ben White. A mistake from Kai Havertz sent Manchester United on a devastating counter-attack that ultimately ended in Marcus Rashford opening the scoring. White should have tried to show Rashford down the wing rather than allow him to come inside on his stronger right foot, but aside from that, the Arsenal defense didn't do an awful lot wrong. Gabriel Magalhaes did just enough to deny Alejandro Garnacho a late winner by playing him offside. However, McCoist has suggested that Saliba is making football look easy at Arsenal right now. The 22-year-old is off on international duty with France now after another commanding performance at the Emirates. Naming their best players of the weekend on TalkSPORT, Ali McCoist said, "I'm actually going for William Saliba. I just think at this moment in time, I think he used the word Rolls-Royce." Colleague Andy Townsend added, "He is making the game look easy." BBC pundit Matthew Upson was quick to praise Saliba and echoed McCoist's thoughts that he looked like a Rolls-Royce. There is a real argument that Saliba is one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League right now. He looks assured in possession and never looks flustered up against some of the best strikers in the league. Journalist says Arsenal fans wanted 24-year-old to be subbed after 13 minutes versus Man United. Arsenal fans were calling for midfielder Kai Havertz to be substituted just 13 minutes into their game against Manchester United. Journalist Ian Ladyman and pundit Chris Sutton were talking about the match at the Emirates on the It's All Kicking Off podcast. Ladyman was in attendance in the press box as Arsenal ran out 3-1 winners over their fierce rivals. They won the match in the most dramatic of circumstances, with VAR ruling out a late Alejandro Garnacho goal. Declan Rice caused pandemonium in the stands with his deflected strike hitting the back of the net in the 96th minute. Gabriel Jesus put the cherry on the cake 5 minutes later as Arsenal maintained their unbeaten start to the season. However, Arsenal fans weren't happy with every player, and one could be heard calling for Kai Havertz to be substituted every early on against Man United. The 24-year-old looks bereft of confidence, although Mikel Arteta has put his full faith in him. He was accused of hiding after missing a big chance in the first half and will hope a reset during the international break can help him refocus. Speaking about the German international, Chris Sutton said, "I think a lot of Arsenal fans have already made their mind up on Kai Havertz, and I don't think it's helping him. He looks like a player who is playing with doubt and indecision and fear. I have been through that myself, and all the trademarks of myself at Chelsea are there. That effort in the first half where he fluffed his lines really snatched it. There is a player there who is not playing with a clear mind, but I do think that the Arsenal fans what's the sort of consequence of them booing him and getting on his back? I don't know whether he reads social media or the newspaper, but he is barely started. There is this negativity towards him, and you have to look at the bigger picture. Is that going to help Kai Havertz if there is this attitude from a certain section of the Arsenal fans to think that he is not any good?" Journalist Ian Ladyman then added, "In the 13th minute, somebody stood up behind the dugout at the Emirates and shouted, 'Get him off.'" Ex-England international hopes to see Declan Rice elevate his game to a new level. Speaking on TalkSPORT, ex-England international Stuart Pearce praised Declan Rice as a player but has urged the midfielder to take his game to the next level, stating, "I'd like to see him grab the game by the scruff of the neck at times and to win games on his own." Pearce alluded that there is a lot more to come from Rice, and if he wants to live up to his £105 million price tag, he will need to be the best player on the pitch and put in man of the match performances. week in and week out. Pierce believes the goal could be an important turning point for Rice since joining the Gunners to take the next step and win them games himself. Rice scored in the 96th minute to give Arsenal a 2-1 lead at the Emirates in his man of the match performance after VAR had chuckled off a United goal in the 89th minute, which would have seen them take a 2-1 lead instead. Since joining the club for a record fee, Rice has started every game for the Gunners and has now opened his scoring account, with many Arsenal fans now confident of achieving silverware and another title challenge this campaign. Premier League club really thought incredible £58 million player was going to leave them, with Arsenal keen to sign him. There was an expectation that Amadou Onana would leave Everton this summer amid interest from Arsenal and Chelsea. That's according to The Athletic, who reported that the departure was expected after the club confirmed their Premier League safety. However, the report said that Onana ended up not being a first-choice target for any of the clubs thought to pursue him. Arsenal signed Declan Rice and Chelsea ended up signing Moses Caicedo. Perhaps Onana would have been an Arsenal target were they unsuccessful in their pursuit of Rice, a deal that is already paying dividends. But it will certainly be interesting to hear this update for both Arsenal and Everton fans, and surely a relief for the latter. Onana has become a crucial part of Everton's midfield, and the side would be much worse off without the Belgian. The report also suggests that Everton would have wanted in excess of £58 million from the likes of Arsenal for incredible Onana, a valuation that doesn't seem unfair in today's market. Of course, it's not too hard to realize why Arsenal held interest in Onana. Although considered a defensive midfielder, Onana has all the attributes to play in a more advanced role, much like Rice. Rice started at the 6 against Manchester United on Sunday, but had the freedom to advance forwards, a role that would suit Onana well. However, both Arsenal and Everton fans are probably happy with how the situation played out. As mentioned, Everton simply could not afford to lose Onana this summer. With just 1 point from their opening 4 league games, the situation would surely be worse without the 22-year-old. And even if a club like Arsenal or Chelsea had met Everton's asking price, it would be a tough task to replace Onana. Ian Wright, amazed by Premier League player, Arsenal are reportedly already planning to bid for next summer. Ian Wright believes Brighton are not going to be able to hold on to Ivan Ferguson if he carries on his current form, and insisted that the Arsenal target is good enough to play for any of the top sides in the Premier League. The potential of Ivan Ferguson has been no secret for some time. The 18-year-old has now scored 10 goals in 24 appearances in the Premier League. His form is not going unnoticed. Reports from Football Transfers last month claimed that Arsenal are the team most likely to make a bid for Ferguson next summer. Brighton, however, already value the youngster at £100 million, and that asking price is only likely to increase over the next few months. Certainly, if Ferguson continues on his current trajectory, whoever gets him is going to be landing a potential superstar, and clearly, Wright would be delighted if he ended up at Arsenal. He suggested that Ferguson now has the potential to be anything he wants to be. Wright said, "When you look at him and the way he plays, his appreciation for the game, his movement, finishing, both feet, good in the air, good pace, he's got all the attributes at 18. Very sure in the way he plays. He is somebody that all he has to do is keep doing what he is doing, and they are going to start talking about him in millions because that striker is not around, really. You can't find that guy come along who's 18 in the Premier League. Let's face it as well. He is at the perfect club to continue to grow, playing Premier League football, scoring goals. They are not going to be able to hold on to that guy if he carries on doing what he is doing. He is too good. When you watch the way he plays, you look at all the top teams, top 6, he can play in any of those teams in the way they play. Of course, it's important not to pile too much pressure on Ferguson. There have sadly been a number of extraordinary talents who never quite managed to realize their full potential. If Ferguson looks set to leave Brighton next summer, the Gunners simply have to make sure that they are in the mix to get a deal done. It could be the kind of move which helps transform a club, given how hard it's right now to find a genuinely brilliant striker. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.